An Asian Development Bank report shows that 155.2 million people in Asia's developing countries lived in extreme poverty last year.
Is that he was born in the wrong place. He didn't choose to be born here.
Did you know that nearly 9% of the world's population lives in extreme poverty? The surprising truth is that this isn't just about individual failures. Today, we're diving into the complex world of poverty, breaking down myths, and uncovering the systemic issues at play. We aim to shift perspectives and inspire a deeper understanding of why poverty persists in our modern world. It's a common misconception that poverty is solely the result of laziness or poor personal choices. However, the reality is far more intricate, involving factors like unequal access to education, systemic discrimination, and economic policies that favor the wealthy. Additionally, global issues such as climate change and political instability disproportionately affect impoverished communities, further entrenching the cycle of poverty. By exploring these factors, we hope to illuminate the structural barriers that prevent millions from escaping poverty. This understanding is crucial for developing compassionate policies and practices that address the root causes of poverty rather than merely treating its symptoms. It's about looking beyond the surface and recognizing the interconnectedness of societal issues that keep poverty alive. Together, we can contribute to a more equitable and understanding world, where poverty is not an inevitable fate, but a challenge to be overcome. Let's get started. 1. The reality of poverty. Generational poverty traps families over multiple generations, making it an almost insurmountable challenge. It's not just about not having enough money, it's about not having access to the resources and opportunities that can break the cycle. Economic structures, particularly those driven by capitalism, inherently produce and sustain poverty. This system relies on a constant pursuit of profit, which often comes at the expense of equitable wealth distribution and the well-being of the workforce. The stark reality is that profit motives exacerbate the wealth gap, ensuring that while the rich get richer, the poor struggle even more. For instance, during the pandemic, the 10 richest men in the world doubled their fortunes, making around $15,000 per second, while countless others slipped into poverty. This stark contrast highlights how economic booms and busts disproportionately affect the poor. Recessions, an inevitable part of the capitalist cycle, dramatically increase poverty rates. During these downturns, many are left jobless, with the most vulnerable sectors hit hardest, demonstrating that poverty is not about individual failure, but about systemic imbalances. In essence, the reality of poverty is complex, rooted in generational cycles, shaped by economic structures, amplified by the relentless chase for profit, and often worsened by recessions. These factors collectively underscore the need for systemic change to truly address and mitigate poverty. 2. Debunking myths. The myth that hard work alone can lift anyone out of poverty is deeply ingrained in society. Yet, the reality is starkly different. Statistics show that hard work does not guarantee escape from poverty. In fact, millions of hardworking individuals remain impoverished due to systemic barriers and inadequate wages. For example, in the US, about 23% of workers are employed in low-wage jobs, debunking the notion that poverty results from laziness. The concept of the reserve army of labor introduced by Marx sheds light on why unemployment and underemployment persist. This theory suggests that a pool of unemployed workers is maintained intentionally to keep wages low and ensure a compliant workforce, highlighting that job scarcity and poor working conditions are systemic, not individual failures. Exploitation versus laziness further clarifies this issue. The narrative that blames the poor for their circumstances overlooks the exploitation inherent in many jobs, where individuals work long hours under poor conditions for minimal pay. This exploitation is a key driver of poverty, not the laziness of individuals. The plight of the working poor exemplifies these challenges. Nearly 8 million Americans work multiple jobs to make ends meet, and yet struggle to afford basic necessities. This reality underlines that even those who embody the hard work ethos can find themselves trapped in a cycle of poverty, challenging the myth that hard work is a surefire path to financial stability. In summary, the myths surrounding poverty and hard work are just that, myths. The evidence clearly shows that systemic issues, rather than individual failings, are at the heart of poverty, demanding a shift in perspective to address the real causes effectively. 3. Societal impacts and misconceptions, social mobility. Myths, the belief in unfettered social mobility overlooks the harsh realities faced by many. Statistics show that the likelihood of moving from the bottom fifth to the top fifth in income distribution is only 7.5%, challenging the narrative that anyone can achieve wealth through sheer hard work. This myth glosses over the systemic barriers that hinder upward mobility, such as access to quality education and networking opportunities. Cultural attitudes. Cultural attitudes towards poverty often blame the individual, neglecting the societal and structural factors at play. Phrases like "pull yourself up by your bootstraps" perpetuate a narrative that poverty is a personal failure rather than a complex issue influenced by economic systems, educational disparities, and lack of social safety nets. This viewpoint stigmatizes those experiencing poverty and oversimplifies the solution to a multifaceted problem. Impact of policies. Policies often reflect and reinforce societal misconceptions about poverty and work ethic. For instance, stringent conditions on welfare benefits stem from the belief that individuals must be compelled to work, ignoring that many beneficiaries are already employed in low-wage jobs or are unable to work due to health or caregiving responsibilities. Moreover, the reluctance to raise the minimum wage, despite evidence showing that no full-time minimum wage worker can afford a two-bedroom rental anywhere in the U.S., illustrates how policy can lag behind the economic realities faced by the working poor. These points highlight the need to shift societal perspectives and policies toward a more nuanced understanding of poverty, acknowledging the systemic factors at play and adopting comprehensive policy solutions are crucial steps in addressing the misconceptions and societal impacts surrounding poverty. 4. Historical context and legacy. The Protestant work ethic. The concept of the Protestant work ethic emerged during the Reformation, linking hard work and diligence with moral virtue and piety. This ethic suggested that prosperity was a sign of God's favor, embedding the notion that wealth and success were indicators of moral superiority. Over time, this belief became deeply ingrained in society, laying the foundation for the idea that poverty resulted from a lack of moral character or work ethic. This historical perspective has had a lasting impact, influencing modern attitudes towards work, success, and poverty, and often overshadowing the complex systemic factors that contribute to economic disparities. Slavery and racism. The justification of slavery in the United States also played a significant role in shaping attitudes towards work and poverty. Slavery was rationalized in part by portraying African slaves as inherently lazy and in need of the discipline provided by enslavement. Post-emancipation, these racist stereotypes persisted, evolving into the belief that Black people and other marginalized groups were impoverished due to a lack of work ethic, rather than systemic racism and discrimination. This legacy of racism has continued to influence societal views on poverty and employment, contributing to racial disparities in wealth, education, and employment opportunities that persist today. These historical contexts shed light on the deep-rooted cultural and societal beliefs that influence contemporary attitudes towards poverty and work. Understanding this legacy is crucial in challenging and changing the narratives that blame individuals for their economic circumstances, and in recognizing the systemic barriers that continue to perpetuate inequality and hinder social mobility. As we wrap up our exploration into the complex world of poverty, it's clear that this issue goes far beyond individual choices or efforts. The historical roots of our attitudes towards work and poverty run deep, from the Protestant work ethic to the legacies of slavery and racism. These historical contexts have shaped our societal structures, influencing how we view and address poverty today. Understanding poverty requires us to look at the systemic factors and work towards inclusive solutions. Let's keep the conversation going. If this video opened your eyes or made you think differently about poverty, hit that like button to show your support. Don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content. Sharing this video can help spread awareness and start much-needed discussions, so please share it with your friends and family. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic, so drop a comment below with your perspective or any questions you might have. Together, we can contribute to a more informed and empathetic world.